Hello again, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Inside the Idaho Vandals with head coach Rob Akey. I'm Dennis Patchen. Thanks for being here. Rob, not exactly what you wanted to happen. What did happen at North Carolina?
It was not a good day. I would just say that. There was. I was really happy that when the game got over with, that nobody got sick from the post-game meal, and the plane was there ready and waiting for us, because we hadn't done anything else right the whole day. So I could just see those things going wrong also. Not the day we wanted, not the day we expected. It needs to be history. It needs to be flushed behind us. It has been. Our focus is on moving forward and playing New Mexico State and getting WAC conference play going.
Does that just happen sometimes to teams?
Unfortunately, it did. I'd love to say, hey, here was the recipe for it. But I mean, honest to God, it was a matter of what could have gone. I think there's a law about it. Some guy named Murphy.
Murphy, yeah.
But anything that could have gone wrong.
If he shows up, that's never good.
It's not a good thing.
No.
And I mean, we force a fumble for a touchdown against us. That's not a good thing. We get not only one punt blocked, but two punts blocked, and it wasn't something that we'd never practiced against before. It was a matter of what could go wrong on that day did, and it found ways to go wrong. Well, I could sit here and I could pound that into their heads, and we could do it all over again yesterday, and we could do it all over again today and the rest of the week, and that's not going to help us beat New Mexico State. Last week we sat here and talked about needing to make one more play and how good this team could be and where we're at. Well, if I could say it a week ago, I'd be able to say it now. Thank God we're not going across the country. We're not playing against the ACC. We're playing at home. We're playing against a WAC team, and that's somebody that we're going to go get after, and it happens to be New Mexico State this week.
How do you deal with a game like that? I know you coaches will go back and watch the film. Did you show this film, or when you walked off the field, it was at the end of that game as far as your players were concerned?
When we walked off that field, we went into the locker room, and I had a football team that was stung hard. We crossed it over. You get into football, you can have a lot of separation, believe it or not. Even though you're a family, you preach that, and you play together. We all represent one another, but you've got an offense and defensive special team, and you can't let that be the case. First thing we did when we got in the locker room was we crossed it over. And I told them I loved them. I told them we're going to move ourselves forward, and that we need to get our minds on beating New Mexico State. Learn from what took place today. Don't ever let it happen again, and let's get our butts moving forward. That's players and coaches, all of us alike. Now, I watched the game several times on the plane coming back. Every play on the offense, every play on the defense, every play on the special teams. My coaching staff did the same thing. We did it again yesterday morning. Did it again when we got back to town that night. I need to put players through that again. We don't need to relive it. We know what took place. We know we need to go. We had a team meeting yesterday, Sunday, when we brought them all together and talked about what we can get done. I want it flushed out of their history. I want it to be gone. We've got the preseason is over. We can't change that. We can learn from it, and we can move forward. We've got what we've been looking for. None of what has happened affects our ability, provided we get our minds right, affects our ability to be the WAC conference champions. We get the first opportunity to make a statement about that this Saturday, and that's what our focus needs to be on. That needs to be kicked to the curb. We're not going to benefit from that any other way. So that was the conversation we had, and paying attention to how we can make things better, how we can use football to benefit us, and how we can play the way that we want to play. We may have washed ourselves a little bit. We may have gone through we may have gone through some things to help get that illustrated to be behind us. And we will continue to this week, because I think that's what's important.
Sometimes when you screw up as a kid, and you know your dad's going to yell at you, and he doesn't yell at you, it can be more effective than when he does, because it's like, I'm really in trouble. Was that your philosophy in this with your team? Not
so much, because they're hurting. I don't need them to hurt any more than they already did. They didn't go out there and try to make that happen. None of us did. We didn't go out there and try to have that be our experience in that stadium in North Carolina. We didn't try to do that. Me bringing up everything that we didn't do well, all that does is cause it to happen again. And sometimes there's when things get going against you, there's that momentum gets rolling, and it got out of control. Unfortunately, that was what took place. Well, I can show them how to fix things, and we can pay attention to how this could not happen again by showing them a way that, hey, this is the way you finish that technique, and this is the way you get the job done. Instead of saying, hey, you dumb son of a gun, you don't think that kid cares? You don't think any guy that made a mistake in that game is reliving that, even when he comes over to the sideline? I'm talking to a guy coming over on the sideline. He's on a kickoff return team, and the guy got across his face. And they're trying to, he says, well, the guy crossed my face. I said, well, I know. That's why we're having this conversation. Hey, if you punch that shoulder here, if you steer him this way now, you can get him back where he needs to be. That's how you fix it. So create the picture of how you can fix it. I don't need to reiterate what happened. He knew that already. He's able to communicate that to me. I need what our coaching staff, what we need to do is communicate them how to do it right. Create that picture in their heads and create situations so we can make that take place.
You're a coach now, but you were a player. You played college football.
Yep.
Can you flush a game like that?
You
as a player?
Can you? Yes. Is it easy? No. Especially not when it happens to the magnitude that one did. Especially when it happens to be now week 6 and we're looking for a win, because that brings a lot of comment. That brings a lot of things on. That can cause human nature. Can cause there to be doubt. It can cause there to be, hey, maybe all these people that are talking nonsense, maybe they're right. That's human nature. The hardest thing for anybody to do in the world when things are going bad is look in the mirror and say, hey, maybe I got something to do with it. So human nature lets there be excuses. Well, football doesn't allow for there to be excuses. It is what it is. And we've got to be, as the head coach, I've got to be accountable for what's taking place right now. When I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see. I've got to make it be better and the end result being better. And that's my responsibility. Give these guys a chance to have success on Saturday. And obviously I've got to do something a little bit more, something a little bit different, something a little bit that gives us the ability to get it over the edge. That's the first place I'm going to look for. I don't say anything to anybody else. Every coach needs to do that. Every player needs to do that. And I still am going to maintain that you pay attention to what you can do. Well, we can win the WAC Conference Championship. Well, that doesn't matter. That takes a whole string of games. We can beat New Mexico State, and that's who we happen to be playing this week. Now, we can do something about that when Saturday gets here.
All right. One of the guys who has been doing a great job with the University of Idaho team is punter Bobby Cowan. And Alyssa Charleston has more with him.
Thanks, Dennis. Well, I'm here with senior captain Bobby Cowan, and something a lot of people don't know about you is you actually played quarterback in high school. You were all-state quarterback in high school. Do you miss it?
A little bit, yeah. Like I said, we threw the ball around a lot in high school, and it was a lot of fun. But I think punting gave me the best opportunity to play here, so I just kind of ran with that.
Very cool. And what you do is very specialized. It takes a lot of specific skill. Do you remember a point in time where you did something that really made you improve your game, your punting game?
I think having TJ Conley here, he was an All-American when I was a redshirt. I think that was huge. He showed me a lot about punting in general. And then, he taught me a lot about the drop, which is a huge part of punting. And so I think having him here really helped me out a lot. Absolutely.
A lot of people think that you're very capable of playing in the NFL, having an impact in the NFL. What are your plans for your future?
I'm gonna pursue that avenue. I'm gonna try and to take that route and train as hard as I can to get there. We'll see what happens. It's a tough market, so to speak. 32 teams and 32 positions. So we'll see what happens.
Very cool. Well, maybe one day we'll see Bobby Cowan up here on the Vandal Athletic Hall of Fame. Thanks again for your time, and back to you, Dennis.
Is he an NFL guy? You've had NFL players. Is he an NFL guy?
He's going to be, yes. He's talented as can be, and he's mentally tough, and he's got a strong leg, and there's a reason he's one of the best in the country. And yeah, I think he's got I think he's got a big time future.
Well, and the fact that he can hold too, because in the NFL the punters are the holders. So I mean, if he's going to play there, he's got to be able to do that, and he does that for you as well.
He's done it well, and I'd like to see him do it more often. As I tell him before we go out there every game, I say, I want to see you play a lot today. When you're taking that snap and holding the ball, I don't want to see your leg go to work at all.
You'd be okay if his leg didn't work, just his finger, right?
I'd be a happy coach, and there'll be a bunch of happy fans out there, too.
When we come back, we'll talk about the WAC opener. Conference season is here, and it starts right here in the Dome on Saturday. Rob Akey will return with us when we return on Inside the Vandals.